They call me at sometimes sad, but mostly just rocks. And you're listening to Ceterox. Let's talk about anything and everything till we reach the end of our thinking capacity. Good morning. Hi. Recording this on the day it was supposed to be uploaded. So if I'm off schedule again, it shouldn't really be a surprise to anybody. Anyway, I've been trying to find the perfect time to record because if you don't already know, I live with a lot of dogs, and getting a peaceful environment in a not so soundproofed room isn't very practical for podcast recording. Anyway, before I get started, just want to give a quick shout out to the very first person that I've ever shared the existence of my podcast to. Hi. I don't know if they're gonna listen to my episodes moving forward, but it just feels pretty cool to dip my toes out a little bit, away from the comfort zone and just share it with somebody. And it feels pretty cool. Like, hey, I know this podcast is just like my passion project or just a creative outlet for me to, I don't know, get stuff out of my system. I guess I just have that sense of shyness and low-key embarrassment because, well, this podcast is like a direct connection to who I am as a person, but it's a bit weird because I find myself unrestrained in my podcasts. I don't know, but knowing that there's someone I know in real life that knows the existence of this podcast and give some episodes a listen, I just feel a little bit conscious about the way I'm gonna do this from now on. But I don't know, I just want to put it out there. I actually wanted to share it with another friend that I wanted to guest on this podcast, but considering my current setup, I feel like I'm still a long way to go from producing high quality content that's that's able to also have visitors come over. But this friend who does know about the podcast gave me an idea that I have mentioned before, which is supposedly the theme of Topic Thursdays, where I take questions from the audience or the listeners about what they want me to talk about for that particular episode. But my friend told me to just do some sort of Q&A and take questions on the internet that aren't necessarily directed at me and just give my feedback on it. I might have to message them again and ask if they have anything particular in mind, because right now I am just I'm just blanking out. Okay, for this episode of Ceterox, it's going to be a Medium Monday episode. I don't know why I had to sing that part. Anyway, I think we have reached that point where we stop discussing the meaning of every theme. And if you guys want to know about the descriptions for each theme, then feel free to visit our YouTube channel at Ceterox. It's a little bit hard to appear on the search results because whenever you type the podcast name, it's gonna be auto-corrected to the word etc. And so you're gonna have to correct auto spelling so that you'd be able to search for Ceterox. But I don't know. I think it's gonna take a while before we get our SEO up there on the YouTube algorithm. But I think if you Google search it, it would appear, I guess. Anyway, for this Media Monday episode, we're gonna talk about anime. Okay. So before I get like jump into like this whole thing where I share with you my anime list. I think it's always important for me to give stories because it's an essential part of this podcast because, well, I'm all about sharing stories, and for some reason, I don't want to like inconvenience people to listen to long stories that they didn't really ask for and they might be uninterested. So I'd rather just share it on the podcast, or people can have the option to give it a listen. They can also not listen if they don't want to. I'm not forcing anybody. So anyway, I'm mumbling now. I just want to share first my anime roots. Anyway, quick time check. We've reached the 5-minute mark. I always have to do this with my podcast because I don't want to go over time or a little bit too under time with my episodes. So I have to do that once in a while. But before the dogs start to make noise, I guess I'm just gonna share with you guys a little bit backstory about me. Growing up in the Philippines, well, I don't have a lot of memory. I don't have much recollection of my early life, but I can remember glimpse of stuff that happened here and there. But when it comes to things like Japan and anime culture, I remember growing up watching those. Well, wait, I'm kind of thinking a little bit. Because whenever people used to ask me what was the first anime I've ever seen, I'd usually tell them it was Digimon Adventure. Because Digimon Adventure at the time was released in around 2000. Oh, it was released in 1999, so I'm assuming this was the release in Japan. And I'm not sure when they started dubbing it, or what do you call this, broadcasting it on Philippine television, but I really do remember watching Digimon as a kid. But when I think about like very early animes, the things that usually come to mind are shows like these are how I know the characters but it might be titled otherwise. So it's these animes called Princess Sarah or A Little Princess. And then there's also Anne of Green Gables. There's also Heidi, Daddy Long Legs. What else is there? I'm sure there's a lot. On top of mind, I remember things like Marcelino Panivino, which I don't think is Japanese anime, but I guess it's talking about like animated series that aren't necessarily cartoons. I don't know. Okay, I don't want to get too technical because I kind of want to talk about cartoons in a different episode altogether. But pretty much it's all these European setting animated series, which I'm just gonna assume is Japanese because they do have the whole anime vibes. I didn't really get to watch much of the classic anime series which aired at the time that I was growing up, like Voltes 5, which actually is one of my dad's favorite anime series as like a kid, because I actually grew up watching Power Rangers, which is like a completely different genre. It's not an anime, but I guess you can put it along those lines of kids shows. And Power Rangers isn't actually an anime because they are inspired by Super Sentai, which is like what do you okay, I don't really watch Super Sentai as much too. I may have watched a few Kamen Riders and things like Garo, things like Tokusatsu, which is like special effects of like superheroes like transforming. I don't really have a lot of what do you call that? I don't really have a lot of interest in it. Although I did love watching Power Rangers growing up. I remember things like Wild Force, Dino Thunder, Space Patrol Delta, but they don't count as anime now, do they? But the reason why I talked about them is because of me trying to remember what I was watching growing up. Yeah. Okay, but when it comes to anime, I guess I'm just gonna like talk about it. Like growing up, I remember watching Animax a lot. And we have this channel in the Philippines called Hero where they dub a lot of animes. And by the you're probably gonna know this once I discuss my anime list later. Yes, we're gonna talk about my anime list, but I just remember watching anime more often when I was in grade school, like in the mornings or after school. We usually have shows like Hamtaro, um, and what else is there? It's a little bit hard for me to think of it right now without looking at my anime list. So it's like, but I guess I should just let you guys know a little bit of the backstory anyway. And then I watched anime like Mirmo de Pong, uh, Peachy Peachy Peach, which is like Mermaid Melody Princesses. That's one of the earliest anime that I remember watching. And a lot of shows that aired on Animax around the years 2006 to 2007, because that was the time that I really got into television. I do remember watching Final Fantasy music videos because we had this channel where they played just music, and then there would be these people on like some sort of forum where I think you have to send a text to be able to talk to people there. Those were the days. And then I know Yu Yu Hakusho, but the thing with Yu Yu Hakusho is I knew the song Hohoemi no Bakudan, which is the theme song. I never really watched it as a kid, but when we moved to Malaysia as a family, we had Animax on cable. And every morning we had this routine of watching cartoons in a particular order. There was like Dora the Explorer, Backyardigans, Lazy Town, which I'm gonna talk about again in another episode. But sometimes if we didn't feel like watching those shows, we'd go to Animax where they'd usually have reruns of Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm not sure if Yu Yu Hakusho was rerunning at that time or if that was the time they were officially running on television. But yes. Oh, okay, now I remember. I grew up watching Cardcaptor Sakura. Also, yeah. I'm just thinking about everything on top of my head, so that's why everything is like all over the place. Because for once, I'm not really relying on a list to like, um, I don't know, to like guide me. But I guess I am who I am, and I need some sort of organization in my life. So I guess we're gonna look at my list after all. But I guess that's just a little bit of a background of my anime roots. Now, when it comes to my love for Japan as a country, as a culture, people, I think I've always had that inclination towards them growing up. like I know this is probably completely unrelated to the reasons why, but I like to think that it is sort of related. But my dad works at a Japanese corporation that is based in the Philippines. But before I was conceived, he worked in Yokohama for around like 2 years, I think. And then, thus I was born. And I guess ever since then, oh, my mic is having some sort of white noise or static. Sorry about that. I guess ever since then, whenever people will talk about my dad going to Japan and stuff, I'd find it super cool. Even though I didn't know that there was this whole hype around Japan. Japan just sounded cool to me as a kid. But I guess every other kid thought the same as well. So I didn't know that there was this whole hype for Japan. So like, that's what started my inclination towards Japanese culture, I guess. And I'm probably gonna talk about video games in another episode, but I did grow up playing Famicom or Family Computer, that console thing that came out together with Atari and all of that, like Nintendo or something. I'm also a PlayStation kid, but we're not gonna talk about video games right now. But most of the games that I played were all like those Japanese bit 8-bit games. They were all in Japanese, and even though I couldn't read a thing, it was just so fascinating for me to get exposed that early on. Okay, I guess I'm just stalling now. But the thing is, I guess I had this problem for my um my love for Japan. But before I talk about that, I just remember this time back in like grade 4. I went to this school for like a year. And then I remember having a crush on this boy in the 5th grade with a Japanese name on it. And I'm assuming he's half Japanese, half Filipino, or he's of Japanese descent, but he was born and raised Filipino or something. I don't know. I don't know his entire background and stuff, but I remember having a crush on him as a kid, but in the 4th grade, and I remember him liking me back. And then girls on the same grade as he is, remember, like, take note of this. I was probably like 8 or 9 years old at the time, and he's probably like 9 or 10. So this is super weird, but it's a funny memory because I remember his friends, or not friends. I remember the girls in his grade would like judge me because like, why would you like a child in 4th grade or something? Like, we found each other cute. Okay, and then I remember this one time that I went to his classroom a little bit after school because his homeroom teacher was my science teacher, and I'm pretty close with all the teachers. And oh, it's just kind of a fun story to talk about my school life, but I'm just gonna take note of that and put that in another episode. But bro, I went into his classroom after school, and then like there were the girls in his class who apparently had a crush on him at the time. And then they were talking to me about him, and then for some reason I told them that I was fluent in Japanese when the only words that I probably knew back then was konnichiwa, arigato, and sayonara. And I bet 100% that I couldn't even say them right at the time. So I was probably just making up words, and I felt so horrible for like lying. But then it's such a funny memory because I was like trying to contest the other girls because like a childish competition of who gets the boy. But bro, I probably only talked to that guy like once or twice. Then a few years later, we became friends on Facebook or something, but I don't really keep in touch anymore because I don't use Facebook anymore. I don't even use social media, but I still remember his name to this day. But out of privacy, respect, I'm just not going to. I just remember it's a really adorable memory as a kid that sorts of it sort of makes up the fact that I do have a thing for Japanese looking boys. Or in Filipino terms, we have this term called chinito, but it's actually somebody with Chinese features. So like the small eyes. But for me, it's any eye shape in general. But I guess the upturned eyes are very pretty for me. Like the eye section with the nice eyebrows and stuff. But I'm gonna talk about boys. Sorry, in another episode because I'm starting to chuckle like crazy right now. And anyway, I never actually knew the terms weeaboo and otaku until a little bit around middle school. But in Malaysia, growing up or going to school there, I find myself being closeted towards other people, about liking anime or about being obsessed with the Japanese culture. Well, not super closeted, because I do remember having people to talk about it with, which is pretty cool. But I guess, that's just high school drama for you. Anyway, back in high school, or not high school, back in grade 6, that was the time they started offering Japanese courses because I went to an international school and I started there in the 5th grade, but at the time the only languages that were available were Bahasa Melayu, Hindi, French, and Mandarin. And I first started taking French, but then I changed to Mandarin, and then in 6th grade when they offered Japanese, I, in a heartbeat, I was like, I'm taking it. I'm probably gonna talk about this in a Fluent Fridays episode where I talk about languages, but I thought that's worth sharing because in grade 6 up to the 9th grade, that's when I studied Japanese, and I was able to expose myself more to Japan as a country, culture, language. And that, what do I think about it? Well, in terms of anime, I'm able to watch, well, not just anime, any Japanese media with less subtitles, or just be able to read what's on the screen. Even though at the time I couldn't understand a thing, it's pretty cool. Okay, there's somebody hammering next door, but yeah. What was the problem? I guess I couldn't really tell people that, oh, I love anime, oh, have you watched this anime this, anime that, until there were actual friends who were more confident and open about sharing their interests, because I felt like there was this stigma around people liking Japan and anime that that didn't really feel nice. And thinking about it now, that was just outright bullying, I guess. And I feel bad because, I guess as a kid, we all have this image of wanting everything to be perfect, climbing up the social ladder, avoiding faux pas, or like, bruh. I was just that worried about image, reputation, and all that to enjoy my hobbies, I guess. Now that I'm thinking about my childhood and stuff, I also remember this time that I had a phase for Death Note. Although Death Note is a great anime, but the Death Note I watched at the time was like the Japanese drama. And then I remember trying to not dress up, but trying to style my hair like a manimisa. And then I would take a lot of photos on the webcam thinking that I'm cute or something, but cringe. See, that's the thing. That was the stigma growing up. It's so cringy. Even up to this day, there are still people who think anime or Japanese fashion culture, whatever, is like cringy, which is why I hated sharing it growing up, even though I really loved it and I was really interested in it. Not because, not just because I felt embarrassed by it, but because I don't want them. Okay, mild profanity. I don't want them shitting on the things that I like. Yeah, I had to give a disclaimer, but so that was that. And I guess I was never really able to reclaim being an otaku or being a weeaboo because of all the negative connotations that it had on me. So as much as I wanted to say I love anime, Japanese video games, Japanese drama, Japanese boys, or whatever, I couldn't really express myself so openly, except towards like a very few selected people who share the same opinion as I do. I eh, I do remember having a lot of kind, like upper class, like seniors in back in high school, who were like fully or half Japanese, that were interested in the things that I was interested in. Although it wasn't necessarily anime, I think it was more all about like Japanese idols. But let's talk about them in another episode. And I guess that gave me just some outlets where I can share my love for Japanese culture, making Japanese friends here and there. Like I guess I put Japan in such a pedestal and forget that they're just people too. They're just another country and culture, and that there's no such thing as superiority. I guess there's just preferences, right? And I guess I'm just remembering those days where I went to the Japanese international school for like a volleyball competition, which is in my lineup for the upcoming episodes that I want to talk about. And then there's also this Japanese friend that I made in the same grade. And she was super pretty, super cute, and like she's pretty popular. Not just because she's Japanese, but because she's like that typical anime protagonist who's tall, long hair, great skin, smart, funny, everybody's friends. Like she was just like that role model. But I have to put "but" in the end because I'm not really sure what to say next after that. But like I just thought I'd put it out there because I just it's just one of those memories that I had. And my boundaries when it comes to liking what I do, my personality right now is that I'm pretty much open to anything, and I don't really mind sharing if the other person is interested in me sharing it or if they shared it first. But I guess I don't really get to talk about otaku culture or being a weeb in the sense that I really like Japan and stuff. The thing is, the word weeb and weeaboo and otaku has had like a bad or negative connotation for so long. It's so hard to use the word without making people cringe. And can you like just leave people alone? And not to sound so goody goody, because even I growing up, because of that stigma, even I used to cringe. Like I would judge people for the way they acted and posed, or but the thing is, looking back at them now, I'm so envious of them because they weren't afraid to express themselves or the things that they liked. Or, there was no reason for them to not continue liking what they do despite what other people is doing to them. Because, YOLO, bro. Wait, let me just take a sip. But anyway, let's go to the present day. Enough about the past. That was already half of the episode. I'm so sorry. Okay. How I stay in the loop. I usually like to get recommendations from friends, cousins, and other people I know who like anime. Or I just like to watch like stuff on the internet, like if there's articles, like YouTube videos, or I don't know, anything in general, like content. But majority of things that I enjoy now in anime actually comes from trash taste. It's one of my favorite things to ever like have in the existence of I don't know, in the existence of content wise. I don't know. I love trash taste so much. Even though most of the time they don't really talk about anime. Like I feel like anime is like 30-40% of the podcast and everything else is just the three of them goofing around. I feel so connected with other I guess okay, I don't know if they consider themselves as otakus and weebs, but anime lovers, I guess, anitubers. And I feel like I'm in the community, like I belong somewhere. Although I wouldn't really say I'm completely into the anime community, but my toes are in there because I'm somebody who doesn't really dip. I dive in completely into like a certain hobby. I'm somebody who goes through phases of them, and right now I do so happen to be in the anime portion in the anime phase of things. So I guess before I waste any more of your time, let's just get into my anime list. Now, I'm 100% sure that my anime list is incomplete, but I do try my best. I do try my best to just be able to, like, what do you call this? Remember everything I've watched, or at least remember what I like watching, just so I can have something on my anime list. My anime list is actually fairly new. I started it during quarantine, and then I started on Pocket Mal, and then it actually helps you create a real profile on the My Anime List website, myanimelist.net. And it's pretty interesting because I've known Mal things like drama list and all that ever since, but I only started paying attention to it more because of Joey, or the Anime Man, where he roasts people's anime lists on his YouTube channel. And even though it's kind of like a far shot of me getting featured on his thing on his YouTube channel, I just thought, why not share? Why not just create my own, just so I can get organized? It makes me pretty happy that I can get organized, and then just have my own thing on the internet. I'm not sure if I'm about to share with you my username on my anime list, but if you do have good memory and you happen to come across this after I shared everything that I've watched with you, then good for you. I have a little bit of a cringy username. I've used this since Tumblr days. I've used this on Twitter, and I guess it's just I like it because it feels so high school, and it's a touch of my childhood days. And without going too far into the story, I hate how I made some sort of enemy who makes fun of my username. But anyway, I don't really care. Anyway, let's get right into my anime list. Before I talk about my completed episodes, I guess I'm just gonna quickly share with you guys what's on my anime list at the moment in terms of what I plan to watch and what I'm currently watching. Right now, I'm actually just watching one anime that I do have a few lined up to watch next after this anime, and that anime is called Tonari no Seki-kun, which is my neighbor Seki, and it's about this boy who's just goofing off in class, like during class, and then there's this girl called Yokoi. I'm not sure. I don't remember her name. And like she just goes crazy about all these different things he does, and it's pretty short anime. I think it's like just clips. here and there. It's like 5 minutes or 3 minutes per episode. It's pretty cute. It's funny. And on my currently watching list, so I don't really know if I can give reviews since I'm just about to watch them, but I guess I'll just tell you who recommended them to me. First of all, there's Banana Fish. I just saw this in the YouTube comment section about anime that will make you cry. Then there's Mira no Kaikata, or like how to raise a mummy, I think. I think that's the English. How to keep a mummy. And I just saw this on my YouTube recommendations and I found it super cute, so I'm gonna watch that. Then there's One Piece, the OG. I actually started watching One Piece, I think, just a few years ago, around 2018 or 19, if I'm not mistaken. And then I just had to catch up. And so far so good. I've actually stopped watching One Piece for a while just so the episodes could pile up. I stopped watching at episode 943. So 944 onwards. At the time this thing is broadcasted, I'm not sure how many episodes there are right now, but I like to just, watch them in one sitting, then suffer and wait again. So there's that. And then there's Violet Evergarden. That's all. I saw that also in the YouTube comment section about animes that will make you cry. So I'm gonna give that a go. I like the trailer as well, so I'm gonna check it out. Then there's Yojo Senki, which is, I think it's the saga of Tanya the Evil. This was recommended to me by my cousin, and it's super duper cute. It's about this, I guess, like it's like if the devil was in the body of a child. I don't know if you should call that, but it's super cute. I like the trailer of it, so I'm just gonna give it a go as well. But actually, I'm not gonna watch the whole anime. I'm just gonna watch this one particular movie. But the thing is, I couldn't find it on my anime list, so I just put the anime there itself. So don't judge me. Okay, there's my plan to watch list. Beastars. I got this from Joey. He keeps talking about this anime. The thing is, I'm just gonna give it a go because why not? And then there's a new Biohazard or Resident Evil movie called Infinite Darkness that's about to come out. Just added it there. And then there's this anime called Chojin Kokosei Tachi wa Isekai de mo yoyu de kinuku you desu. Okay, I think I'm gonna try to just give you guys the English title of everything because I'm not about to put subtitles on a podcast. Because how do you do that? Okay, so it says here, high school prodigies have it easy even in another world. This was recommended to me by my cousin. And then there's Decadence, recommended to me by my coworker. And then there is a new anime that I just saw being popularized on Twitter called The Way of the Husband, and it's about this ex-yakuza who just became a house husband. There's this super cute manga panels. But the thing is, I guess I just want to watch anime right now because I'm not in the manga phase just yet. I have a lot of books and mangas to read, so I'm not gonna pressure myself right now. I'm just gonna enjoy what's on my plate. And then I have this anime called Hanamaru Kindergarten. I want to watch this just because I saw this meme online about the shark song before Baby Shark was the thing, and it's about this girl who just singing Same Same, which Same means shark. And then there's this How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, and then By the Grace of the Gods, also recommended by my co-worker. Now How Not to Summon a Demon Lord was recommended by my cousin. And then we have Parasite. I'm gonna watch Parasite Maxim. I've actually watched the live action movies already, and it was pretty cool. So I saw how violent the the anime is. So I just want to give it a go as well. How many times did I say the word violent? I'm sorry about that. Anyway, and then I also has The Misfit of Demon King Academy, recommended by my cousin. I have Problem children are coming from another world. These are recommended to me by my cousins. Then there's Nichijo, or My Ordinary Life. I've heard this from the Trash Taste podcast as well. So I'm just gonna give this a go too, because they said it's funny and I like funny anime, which is kind of controversial on Trash Taste because they were talking about how there's not a lot of funny animes out there. Anyway, and then I'm also planning to watch. Wow, I'm not sure about this, but I have Prison School on my list, and there's a lot of reviews saying how funny it is, but it's kind of sketchy to watch, so I'm not sure. So there's just that. Then there's ReZero season 2. I watched season 1 already. I'm just waiting for the entire season to finish because this is a currently airing anime and I don't want to like ruin this for me. Then there's Tokyo Magnitude 8.0. Planning to watch that. I watched Japan Sinks 2020 and I don't know if this is gonna be the same as that, but I'm not about to compare, so I'm not sure. Then Akagi, the anime, I'm gonna watch that. I've actually watched Akagi starring Hongo Kanata like recently, and I've been really into mahjong. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in an episode before, but I just went a little bit crazy with the whole mahjong and got myself an actual mahjong set for my house. And the tiles are pretty big, and I don't have a table, but kind of cringy. Sorry. Anyway, Kaiji is also a good story, but I only watched the live actions, like the 3 movies. I forgot the main actor's name, but I know the 3rd installment has Makenyo in it, and I was like, Stan. Okay, that's everything on my currently watching and plan to watch list. Let's quickly go to my completed. Now, whether you guys want to roast me or not on my anime taste, I guess let's start from the bottom. I guess so we can be quick about it. So I rated Akun to Kanojo, which is My Sweet Tyrant, a 4. Now this was a really good, I guess, rom-com kind of thing, but the only reason why I rated it as bad is because they were kind of glorifying treating people horribly only to love them deep inside, because it's kind of horrible. So I just called it bad. I'm not gonna get too much into it. I watched this lately too, so yeah, there's that. And then there's some few things I rated 5 because I guess I was expecting them to be really good, but I guess they were just missing in some elements that could have made them great. And I guess this would be considered very controversial, but here's what I rated a 5. There's Keppeki Danshi Aoyama-kun, Cleanliness Boy Aoyama-kun. It's like a soccer anime about this guy who's like a germaphobe. It had so much potential. It was really funny, but so if it's not great for me, but it's not bad either, right? So I guess it's only right to give it a 5. Then there's ReZero season 1. I gave it a 5 too. Same reason. There's Kagero Days, just the movie in a days, because I only watched it because of the song my high school friends recommended to me, called Kagero Days as well. I watched it, but I wasn't really into it. It wasn't horrible or anything. It was just eh. Then there's Free. Oh, Free was one of the animes that I was able to openly like in high school because it was a thing back then. But again, same reason. I was expecting too much, I guess, but it didn't really do much for me. And then there's Devil is a Part-Timer. Give it a 5 too, because there was a lot of development lacking in a lot of places in the anime. I don't really like, for all of these things, I'm just judging from the anime because of the lack of development, I guess, because of the limited number of episodes. So that's just my opinion. I'm not dismissing the story altogether because I haven't really read the manga, so just quick disclaimer over there. And then there's Keroro Gunso, like number 3. I bought this DVD back in Malaysia Back then, I collected DVDs for animes, J dramas, horror movies, and it was like a fun, expensive hobby that I don't want to do again. And yeah, that was a cute movie. I bought that anime for like 5 ringgit, which I guess is like, I'm not sure how much that is in pesos and dollars. So I'm just gonna like quickly Google it. So 5 ringgit is like $1, $1. You guys do the math. I'm done. Then there's Naruto. I did watch Naruto until the beginning of Shippuden, but I couldn't get into it as much as I wanted to, even though I did have a face for Naruto. And even at the time that it was airing together with One Piece, before I liked One Piece, I couldn't develop much into liking Naruto. I'm sorry for Naruto lovers out there. Don't judge me. I'm sorry. My favorite character at the time was like Temari. So that was like early on Naruto. And Gaara. Ooh, Gaara is one of my ultimate crushes in anime. So if those are the only people keeping me from watching the anime, then it's a little bit hard for me to like. Okay, then there's Tokyo Sings 2020. Japan Sings 2020. Rated it. Oh, here's the sixes. I rated it a 6, even though when they discussed it on Trash Taste, it wasn't that good. I did like it. I guess the story could have developed even more, and it was pretty amusing how a YouTuber saved the world. But it could do a lot more. But it was okay. It's pretty good. It's pretty. I don't know what 6 stands for on. It was fine. And then there's Aggressive Retsuko or Agretsuko. I like it. It made me laugh, but it wasn't like on the top tier because I guess I have high standards on what I want to rate. Very high level. So if I rate Attack on Titan a 6, you understand, because I look for a lot of development or like story or feeling invoking when I'm watching an anime, because I'm not reading the manga, so I'm missing out on a lot of elements in the storyline that I was assuming they'd share in an anime. So that's my opinion on it. Then there's Konbini Kareshi, or convenience store boyfriend. It was pretty light. It's cute. It was like just a slice of life. It's okay, I guess. Then there's Kuzu no Honkai, or Scum Swish. A little bit racy, but it was also okay. The ending was a bit upsetting. That's why I just rated it a 6. And then there's Kiss Him Not Me. Very funny, very cute. It's about this Funjoshi. Fujoshi. Okay, I'm sorry. There's this girl who likes BL, and then when her favorite character died, she became thin and pretty. It's kind of like body dysmorphia for some people out there, but yeah, she just became popular because she lost a lot of weight. And then there's these handsome boys in her school who liked her when she got pretty. But I don't know. I rated it a 6. I should probably rate this a 4. But then that's just like being the woke person in me. I am reading too much into it. Then there's Kimi no Nawa. I rated it a 6. I guess I watched it after the hype was over, and I watch way too many emotional movies and anime and any other types of content. So in terms of the feels, it didn't really give me that much feels. But I'm not really shitting on other people who really love this movie, so go ahead. Then there's Tanaka-kun wa itsumo kedaruge, or Tanaka-kun is always listless. This drama made me feel so lazy about everything in the world. So I just rated it a 6 because it was okay. It was fine. But like it was so the Japanese term for it is darui. It was so darui or light. It was so lazy, or like sloth-ish almost, that I couldn't really hype too much into the anime. But it was a pretty good watch. Then I watched this. I have this movie special of One Piece called Episode of Nami. I rated it a 6. It was actually on the anime as well. It just wasn't as detailed. I think this was in the R Long Arc or something. Long Island. I'm not sure. Long Island. Then there's Kami-sama Kiss. A very cute anime. And then Kaicho wa Maid-sama. So it's pretty controversial that I'm rating these a 6, even though I really like them. I'm just expecting too much. Kaicho wa Maid-sama, I gave it a 6 because they didn't continue till the end. I read the manga until the end of Kaicho wa Maid-sama, and I'm just upset that there's a lot that they didn't include in the anime. That's why I just gave it a 6, just to spite on them. Then I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds onwards, like the Yu-Gi-Ohs that came after that, I couldn't really watch them anymore. It was just too much for me, or like they didn't really interest me anymore. Except if there were movie specials that featured the previous Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonists, like Yugi, Judai, and what do you call this? Yusuke? Is his name Yusuke or something? Yusei, sorry, not Yusei, not Yusuke. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds was also pretty good. And then there's Mirmo Depong. This was one of my childhood animes, and it was super cute as a child, but I'm just giving it a 6 because the story really didn't stick to me as much. I rated a lot of animes as 6, huh? And then there's Powerpuff Girls Z. I loved Powerpuff Girls as a kid, and this anime version was super cute. Could do a lot more, but it's fine, so I just gave it a 6. Then there's the Tekken. This was one of the first like video game based animes that I've watched, and it's pretty interesting because I wanted to have like an anime series for Tekken, but the thing is it's a video game, so I guess it was too much to ask them. And this was just, I guess they did like the origin story of Tekken. So yeah, there's that. And then there's Kido Shinsengumi Moyoken TV. This is an anime that I bought on DVD, and I would never otherwise watch if it weren't for that. Pretty good anime. Could do a lot better. It's like a fantasy historical anime. That's, I guess, just the genre of it. Then there's Ultramaniac. I rewatched this during quarantine. It was super cute, but I'm just giving it a 6 because, again, needs a lot of story development in the anime. Super cute, a lot of potential, a lot of kyun moments, or like doki doki. I'm just giving all those Japanese terminologies. You feel free to skip this episode. I'm saying that now at past the 50-minute mark. Anyway, okay, the ones that I gave a 7. I gave season 3 part 1 of Shingeki no Kyojin a 6, but I gave season 3 part 2 a 7 because that's when like the story starts to get juicier, I guess. So I gave that a 7. And then there's Wotakoi. I gave this a 7. I really like Wotakoi. Again, they need to expand this more. As much as I really want to read the manga, I just love the whole moving and colored scenes. And I don't really know if there's a lot of other cute animes like Wotakoi that, features otakus as protagonists. I remember there's this 3D kanojo, or like 3D girlfriend, but I only watched the movie, so it doesn't really count, right? Anyway, then there's Hitorijime My Hero. This is actually a BL anime. It's pretty cute, that's why I gave it a 7. So there's that. I also really like the music. And there's Sakamoto desu ga. Very funny, very short. But I just gave it a 7. It's cool, like Sakamoto. And then there's the Biohazard movies. I give them all a 7 because I'm biased towards Resident Evil, and I just love everything involved with Biohazard, so that's why they're getting high ratings. There's Koe no Katachi. Oh, watch this in high school. Pretty good. I cried watching this. I'm just looking at the year that this movie came out. Yeah, 2016. Oh, this was in college. I watched this in college. but it was recommended to me by my high school friends. Okay, cool. And then there's Ore Monogatari, super cute. I gave this a 7. I feel so soft watching Ore Monogatari. And then there's Shingeki no Kyojin season 1 and 2. Give those a 7. I'm not gonna talk about popular anime that much. I'm assuming people know the story behind them. So I guess I'm gonna talk about anime which I think are pretty underrated. So we're on the 38th anime. So I'm doing this in reverse. So there's 38 more animes to talk about. Then there's Saint Onisan. It's about Jesus and Buddha living together on Earth. It's pretty funny. I really like the anime. They really couldn't do it much justice in the live action as much as I wanted to like it, since it starred Kenichi Matsuyama. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm getting the names wrong, because I'm just sorry in general. It is starring who? Yeah, Kenichi Matsuyama and Sometani Shota Sometani. Yeah, those were the cast. I wanted to like it, but the anime was just better. It hits different. How they say in trash taste. And then there's Anohana. I give that a 7. I watched the anime, the live action, all the specials and stuff. So gave a good cry. So just a 7 because it's pretty good. I'm not gonna give it any higher rating than that, because I try to set a pretty high standard when it comes to cry movies or cry anime or cry content. Shirokuma Cafe. Discovered this because of Ceterox. I listened to the background music while studying for my high school exams, and the music was pretty good, and then I just checked out the anime a little bit afterwards. Then there's Prince of Tennis, biased toward this, so I give this a 7. Zero no Tsukaima comes out a lot in this list, and I owned the whole complete DVD collection, and I watched it like from start to finish, so I guess I have no choice but to like it. And like thinking about it, it's like one of my first isekai animes that I've watched, I think. If there's another isekai anime that I've already mentioned watching earlier on, then I don't know. And there's Tekken Blood Vengeance. Oh, this was when they attempted to make another Tekken movie in like the modernized anime style or like version. So that's pretty cute too. It's pretty cute. I liked it. I wish they made more Tekken movies every time they'd release a new Tekken game, or like if they can just outright release an entire series. But I think it's gonna take a lot to produce, so pressure. Anyway, Biohazard, Damnation, and Incubate. Yeah, they're all here. Dora Dora is a high school anime that I like, and I had this high school crush, which is just gonna go nameless, and he watched Dora Dora, and that's the reason why I watched Dora Dora. And it's about this tsundere characters. There's this guy who looks scary but is actually nice, and there's this girl who looks nice who's actually scary. That's just like a quick way to describe it. Then there's Rosario Vampire. That's probably the first isekai that I was mentioning that I first watched. Very cute, kind of racy as well, but cute nonetheless. I like the music, characters, and all that. Yeah. Not much else to say, is there? Vampire Knight, another one of my biased animes. And I also played the video game, even though it's quite unrelated to the anime. So I like Vampire Knight. I love Zero. I had a thing for Zero back then. And Zero is probably one of the reasons why Zero is my favorite number, even though it doesn't really have any value. Another Biohazard movie. Rosario Vampire again. Then there's Lovely Complex. Very cute because I love unconventional stories or unconventional romances. And it's about this short guy and a tall girl. It's love story. Like they started off as friends and then they ended up falling for each other. It's super cute. I'm getting feels. Okay. I'm just gonna skip like the animes that I've already mentioned before, because A lot of them repeats on the list because of the different seasons or like movies. Then there's Nanatsuro Drops. This was an anime given to me by one of my sister's friends. Well, actually, we're also friends, but she's more of my sister's friends. And like, what do you call this? Nanatsuro Drops is pretty cute. It's a cute anime. It's a little bit like Cardcaptor Sakura ish in the sense like there's this girl who has to collect like 7 colors. Yeah, it's a little bit like Ultramaniac in a sense also. Anyway, it's a cute anime, a little bit underrated. I like the music. Story development also pretty good for the anime. Then Death Note is also here, rated it a 7. There's Kami-sama Kazoku, also the same person who recommended Nanatsuero Drops recommended Kami-sama Kazoku, which is the God family or something. I like the storyline of this. The animation could do a lot better, but at the time it's already good, so no comment. Then I gave Sailor Moon a 7. Then Peachy Peachy Peach, or Mermaid Melody Princesses, is one of my favorite animes growing up, so I'm giving that a 7 also. I really like it. I have a thing for mermaids, under the sea or whatever stuff, even though I have the phobia of the ocean. Anyway, it's cute. It's like Sailor Moon, but mermaids. Then there's the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Rated it a 7. Yu Yu Hakusho here, also a 7. There's Midori Days. I rated it a 7. Same as Cardcaptor Sakura. Prince of Tennis again is here. Then Ito Junji. Okay, let's start with the 8s. I gave Ito Junji an 8 because I just love Ito Junji. Even though I prefer Ito Junji's mangas. I just gave the collection an 8 because I love how they attempted to create anime, motion pictures for this. So I love this. It's not a motion picture. It's just an animated series. Motion pictures are like old cartoons. My goodness. Then there's School Babysitters. I think that's the name in English. It's super cute. I found this on my recommended on YouTube. So I gave it a watch like recently. It was super cute. I just have to give it an 8. It makes me soft. I love siblings, and we just care so much about each other. Okay, Kakegurui, a little bit controversial, but I really like it, so I gave it an 8. It's along the lines of like Akagi, Liar Game, Kaiji, like all those gambling stuff or like risk and stuff. It's interesting to me because I don't gamble, but I love to watch like dramas and animes about it. Wakako Zake, also another short series, but it's pretty good, so I gave that an 8. She basically just eats in every episode. It's like a mukbang anime or something. There's Aoharaido or Blue Spring Ride. Give that an 8 too because Mabuchi or the guy protagonist is just one of my standards for boys or something. I don't know. I'm biased. And Digimon Savers. This is one of the Digimons that I got attached to even more compared to the original. Because as much as I wanted to like the original Digimon, it was just too much for me for some reason. And Digimon Savers was a good alternative, and I liked the story too. And there was less Digimons to remember. I'm sorry. You're probably wondering there's no Pokemon in this list. I don't hate Pokemon per se, but I don't particularly like Pokemon either. I do have some favorite Pokemon characters, like Staryu, I think. Call him Staryu. Squirtle's one of my favorites, but I couldn't really get myself into watching it. Oh, back in grade school and high school, they talk about Pokemon a lot, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I really couldn't get into talking about it with them, because I didn't want to say that I don't like Pokemon, but I do know Pokemon because a lot of people I'm close to likes Pokemon. So I just don't jump into the hype as they do, or into the bandwagon as they call it. Yeah. Then my top 4. Okay, so it makes sense to have this in my top 4, but 4 and 3 I rated them an 8. So the 4 here is Tokyo Godfathers. This movie made me cry. That's all I'm gonna say. You guys should give it a watch. It's just a movie, so you're not gonna commit too much. So there's that. Then my top 3. So my top 3 is Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. So the same reason for Digimon Savers. As much as I wanted to like the original Yu-Gi-Oh!, the quality at the time wasn't just doing it for me. And Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was where things started to improve. And yeah, there's a lot of other characters that I really like in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. So I give that an 8. Really like the story, very cute. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Then my top 2 anime here apparently is, and they are scored a 9. I don't really give anything a 10 just yet because I don't really have an ultimate anime maybe just yet, or I'm just gonna keep it clean. Or like, I'm not gonna put anything in a god tier anime just yet until I find it. Top 2, Barakamon. Barakamon was an anime that I only knew because same reason as Shirokuma Cafe. I love the soundtrack so much, and then I decided to just watch the anime, and I ended up liking it or loving it. I'm a writer too, ish, same as the main guy in Barakamon, and I just love this. I just love the slice of lifeness of it, or just how, what do you call it, or just how simple it was. There wasn't anything super special about it. But actually, the main guy is actually a calligrapher. But I guess it's just, I'm just trying to relate myself in a way because I'm a writer too. But it's so hard to express. But I can't not give Barakamon a 9 after watching it. Then on the tippy top of my list, I have Yakitate Japan. Yeah, Yakitate Japan belongs to the top of this list, hands down. It's one of the animes I've watched growing up. Oh, sorry, I just slammed my hand on the table. Super funny, good development, so much potential, but it really developed quite well in the anime, if I must say so myself. I really wish they could continue it for much longer. I mean, it's already pretty long as it is. But yeah, it's a little bit upsetting that, there's not really much after that. But I love everything about it. Characters, the story, the music, the animation. I don't know. It just sticks to me. And like now, during these days of the C word, everybody's just baking at home. I'm just getting Yakitate Japan vibes all over again. I think I'm just gonna cut it right here because we have officially overreached the 1 hour mark. So I'm just gonna quickly do my outro. If you guys want to or not, you can find this podcast on Anchor FM. So it's gonna be available in places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. But we do have an official YouTube channel where I upload episodes with a little bit of visuals here and there. I have an Instagram page at Ceterox. So we can just get this SEO going and we can appear nicely on the search engine. But you can give it a follow if you want to or not. I don't know, it's really up to you. It's just really fun, I guess, to have some sort of project going on for myself. I have reached the end of the thinking. I have reached the end of my thinking capacity. Let me know your thoughts and takeaways. In the meantime, till next time, bye!